COVID-19 is a disease that is caused by a virus called coronavirus. The name COVID-19 itself means coronavirus disease 2019 because it was discovered in December in 2019. The disease was first discovered in a city called Wuhan in China. The COVID-19 virus is a new one, meaning that it is the first time it is being seen, and this is the first time it is causing disease in human beings. It is a virus that is said to be seen in bats and now has been able to transmit its disease into human beings. The disease is basically one that affects the respiratory system. It basically goes to affect the lungs. The most common symptoms that the COVID-19 is associated with are cough, sore throat, difficulty in breathing. These are the three commonest symptoms that patients with coronavirus have. But you also have other symptoms that include loose watery stools, fever. Fever is also a very important symptom. Sometimes you have loss of appetite and then change, or you are not able to smell anymore, and then body weakness and body aches. People come up with different symptoms. But in 80% of cases, the disease takes a mild or moderate course. But in the remaining 20%, you can have severe symptoms, and ultimately, in a very small percentage, leads to respiratory distress or difficulty that can eventually lead to death. People who are affected by this virus can have it on their hands, and when they touch any surfaces, these viruses are transmitted to these surfaces, especially things like door handles, tables, any household surfaces that are being touched by the infected person can leave the viruses there. So an individual who is not infected comes in contact with those surfaces that have that virus, can now get infected by the virus. So now the disease, like I said earlier, runs a very mild or moderate course in majority of patients who are infected. However, there are a group of patients who are more susceptible to the severe forms of the disease. This includes the elderly, young children, and also people who have comorbid conditions. When we say comorbid conditions, we mean people who have some other illnesses, most especially people who have diabetes, asthma, people who have cancer, and people who have diseases that cause their immunity to be reduced, such as people with kidney diseases and HIV. Now, for this group of patients, when and if they do get the infection, the severity, the course of the disease is very severe in them, and they're the ones that are likely to have the severe forms that can lead to death. Now, the major strategies that are involved in preventing COVID-19 are about 3 or 4 major ones. The first one is hand washing constantly. And this hand washing should be done with soap and water, any kind of soap, whatever soap it is, as long as it lathers and it foams. You use it to wash your hands regularly. Hand washing should occur for at least 20 seconds. The second thing is to practice etiquette when coughing and sneezing. It is recommended that a person who has cough or sneezes should use a tissue rather than use his or her hands to stop the droplets from going out. So when you cough and you sneeze, the tissue should go across your face and your nose and your mouth, and you cough or sneeze within that tissue and immediately throw it away. Do not reuse that tissue, and you go and wash your hands. Now, in the absence of soap and water, you can use a hand sanitizer which contains about 60% of alcohol. Now, the other thing you can do is, if you don't have tissue, to cough or sneeze in your elbow. So for example, you are going to cough or sneeze, you cough because that way you do not get the virus into your hands. Now, if I'm wearing a short-sleeved dress and it is my skin that is out, then I should cough in my shoulder, like this. That's the case for etiquette for coughing and sneezing. The third thing is social distancing. This is a term that is used in public health to say, to show how people need to stay away from each other, and so you need to stay at least 2 meters away from each other. And that is what it's called social distancing. This is a summary of what the COVID-19 infection is. At least in our lifetime, in my lifetime, There has never been anything like this with this kind of magnitude. 20th of April, it has affected over 2 million people. Over 150,000 people have lost their lives. Here in Nigeria, the cases are increasing. The best way in which this disease can be dealt with is by us taking responsibility, because COVID-19 for now does not have a cure. The hope for it is for us to develop a vaccine and so that everybody can be vaccinated. However, there is no vaccine present right now, and it's going to take at least 18 months for a new vaccine against COVID-19 to be developed. So the responsibility is on all of us to protect ourselves and our families. The governments around the world have all come out together with the WHO on recommendations on what we all need to do. Please take responsibility. We all need to stay in our houses, because when we stay in our houses, the virus does not have a host to fall into to continue to infect people. Please protect yourself, your families, and your communities at large. The virus is real and it is fast spreading. So please be the responsible citizen that you are and obey the recommendations that have been given. Thank you for listening.
And going to bed feeling the same way. It's knowing that you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody else. That love is only thing that's on your mind all day and every time. And it's a feeling so great that no matter what anyone says, it will never be taken away from you. It's probably the best feeling in the world. Faith requires love. You can't have Iman if you don't know how to love. Love is the happiness you feel when love itself comes around. It's the sadness in your heart when you know that love is not there anymore. It's the safety you feel when you are feeling scared. It's the joy you feel when you are feeling sad. It's the hope you have when everything is gone wrong. It's the dreams you hold on to when you are alone. It's the way you sit there and think of crazy things that can be expressed. Just like the fish once said to the sea that you can't see my tears when I cry. And the sea replied, yes, I might not see your tears, but I can feel your pain. I can feel your joy because you live in me. Allahu Akbar. But when you lose that feeling, what's going to happen? Love, as mentioned by Allah, Allah used a special word for love, and that is al-mawaddah, the type of love that is akin to marriage, to living together, to forming a family, to having a relationship. This kind of love, mawaddata wa rahmah, this kind of love is amongst the best things in life. It's not what you can see. You can't hold it. You can't touch it. Sometimes you can't prove it. But just manifests itself in so many tangible ways. It is loving the other person more than you love yourself. It has to do with putting the other person first and giving all you can to them and the relationship. It means thinking of ways to please and make them happy. This special kind of marital love is the greatest of all love, al-mawaddah. Al-mawaddah builds with faith. It grows with sacrifice, and it increases with time. It stabilizes. What do you consider? Sometimes it's the cost. You want to buy an expensive shoe. Sometimes you want to get a fanciful shoe. Sometimes fashionable. Sometimes comfortable. Which is best? Expensive, fanciful, fashionable, or comfortable? Comfortable. Yes, when you do that, when you get the comfortable one, you are lucky, because when you wear shoes, you can't get it off every time. There are some moments you can't remove your shoes and walk barefooted. Getting the spouse of your choice, getting the right is like getting the size of your shoes. If you got the one that is too small, it's going to squeeze your feet. And when that happens, you begin to sweat even when there's cold. You begin to squeeze your face. You begin to make funny faces. You become restless. You feel some pains you can't complain about. But what if the shoes are too big? Well, you can stuff it up. You can stuff it up with tissue papers. You can stuff it up with papers. You can stuff it up with stuff, with things, so that at least it's not going to pull off your feet. Some shoes are designed for leisure when you want to walk free. Some shoes are designed when you want to look fashionable. Fashionable and comfortable may not always go together. Get the shoes of your size. Get the one that is for you. You don't go about and say, look, those sisters, they are too materialistic. Get a lady of your size. There was a time when a rat was looking for a wife. And this rat moved around and found a camel, a red camel. And this rat said, now that I've set my eyes on you, I would rather die with you than live without you. I want to marry you. And then the camel said, well, if you want to marry me, you got to show me to your parents. If they approve, then we can marry. Then the rat pulled the rein of the camel, and they went and about to enter into the hole of the rat. And the rat realized that the camel wouldn't fit into the hole. While the rat was making the effort to see how to drag the camel into the hole, the camel said, let me advise you. Either get a rat of your size or get a bigger hole. We are not compatible. Some of these are so obvious, but people don't like to look at the obvious. When you buy a shoe, look at it very well and ensure that it's the one that you can do with, is the one you can deal with, is the one that's actually your own size, as the case may be. Then step 2, readiness for marriage. Are you ready? If we're asked now, all single ladies should stand up, all single brothers should stand up, go ahead and marry yourselves. You see, it's not going to work. Are you really ready? Are you physically ready? Are you matured physically? Do you have mental maturity for marriage? Are you psychologically prepared for marriage? Are you ready to take up responsibilities as a man, as the leader? When Allah says, "Ar-rijal qawwamun 'ala nisa," men are the maintainers of women. Can you maintain yourself? Talk less of maintain a woman. As the leader, as the follower, are you ready to be a spender? Bima faddala ba'dahum 'ala ba'din wa bima anfaqu min amwalihim. Can you spend? Do you have something to spend? As a manager, can you manage? As a communicator, can you communicate? Can you speak women? It's a language on its own. And can you speak men? Have you learned how to speak men? These are exceptionally important. Well, do you have the freedom to get married? Have you freed yourself? Have you accepted yourself? Have you known that you are actually not perfect, but you are complete the way you are? Thirdly, what of the health considerations? Have you considered the health part of marriage? Physical health, matters of genotype, matters of being handicapped or being deaf or blind in one form or the other. The deaf community, who marries them? Have you considered them? The blind community, they also need to marry. It's not all about all of us here alone. I've looked around. I didn't see anybody walking in with walking stick. Did we say they shouldn't come? They are Muslims too. Why weren't they invited? He is doing this job because of those who may not hear what we say. But the ummah is much wider than that. Then, what of the mental health? I hope the person you want to marry is not a psychopath. Can a mad person marry? Can someone with Down syndrome marry? Can an autistic person marry? How will they get married? Are you going out with someone with the right aqidah? Are you trying to marry someone with the right perception of woman, the right perception of marriage, the right perception of life itself, the right perception of what it means to be a human being? Have you noticed some of the red flags that should make you to know that this is not the person you should marry? What are some of these red flags? You see, you've not married somebody yet, and is never talking about your future. He's never bothered, never concerned about what happens to you in your future. Are you trying to marry somebody who is petty, somebody who is shallow, somebody who is not deep, somebody who only discusses surface things? Red flag. If you found somebody already, does he share the same core values as you do? Does he have the same life goals like yours? What of his deen? How does he do it? Does he attend programs like you do? Or he has only come to the program to take you out and that's all? Somebody who is not disciplined with the opposite sex. Somebody who cannot look away when he sees ladies. Or ladies who cannot keep their mouth shut when they see men. Hey, tell me, what kind of a person puts password on his phone? What kind of a man does that? And what kind of a woman reads somebody's messages? Do you trust one another? I'm just wondering. You've not married somebody, he's already slapping you. Anything you say, pwah! And then when he does that, they say, sister, sorry, what happened to you? She will say, I fell in the bathroom. You are covering up for him. He's already beating you. He's already going violent. And you still say you love him. You can see some of these red flags. Don't fall into it. You are speaking to somebody and the person is hanging the phone up on you. You've not even married yet. He's hanging off. He's walking away because he's angry. He's refusing to pick your calls for 3 days because he's angry. Watch it, sister. That's a very serious red flag there. You've not married someone and the person is shutting the door with a slam on you because he or she is angry. That's a very serious red flag. The problem is people don't change. He's not going to change and she's not going to change. You've not married someone yet, but he always goes for nuclear option during an argument. It's as if I either win or we die. Over what? You are not married yet. That's a very serious red flag there for you. And
the most merciful, wassalatu wassalamu ala khatim al-anbiya wa imam al-mursaleen. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon the seal of the prophets and the leader of the messengers, ar-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ala ahlihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, and upon his household and entire companions. Dear viewers, I greet you all with the best of greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Meaning, may the peace, blessings and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you all. You're welcome to another edition of the program Ask Salam, coming to you live from the Salam TV studios in Abuja. And alhamdulillah, today is the 26th day in the blessed month of Ramadan and the 27th night, one of the nights in which we seek for Laylatul Qadr, the night of majesty, is the 27th night, which is the odd night. And this is actually the night that it is most most scholars and most narrators have given that it is most likely, or it most likely falls on this night, the 27th night, which is why globally the entire Muslim Ummah comes out in mass and they stand up and at night as much as they can to pray to Allah, to turn to Allah, to ask for forgiveness from Allah, and to also perform dhikr, that is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which could be in the form of qiyamul layl, in the form of tahajjud, or any other salah that they observe, or any other act of worship that is observed in order to draw closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. So in this night, and which is one of the odd nights, we implore everyone to make an effort as much as possible to make dua, as much as they can, perform one act of worship as much as they can. Because in this night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. It is a night that is better than 1,000 months. 1,000 months, yes. خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ شَهْرٍ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. That is a night that is better than 1,000 months. Also, in addition, we would like to apologize for everyone viewing that yesterday, although some of those who were viewing the program on Star Times were unable to due to technical issues, we still conducted the program. It still was live. However, it was streamed on the social media platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, and so we still had questions coming and callers were able to make their calls through, or their calls went through, alhamdulillah. But for those who were unable to connect with us through Star Times, our sincere apologies for that. And also for today, with the images you might see also, if it's not so clear via Star Times, you can try connecting via social media, via the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and inshallah these programs will still be airing there and you can see it clearer if you are having difficulties while watching it on Star Times. For anyone who might be experiencing that, wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant ease. It's being worked on, inshallah, just to mention that. So for that reason, it's going to be rectified very soon. So do keep watching, inshallah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Again, may Allah accept all of our good deeds and forgive us all our shortcomings in this blessed month of Ramadan. We have our very first caller on the line, and the numbers to call again are stated below, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
My only prayer is that I pray to God Almighty so that this program will continue, not to end by this fasting.
Ameen, ya Rabb.
If there is any way we can do to make it continue for us, we should do it.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much for your dua. May Allah accept it from you. We would also love to continue with the program as well. So do keep us in your prayers and support Salam TV. I believe that is the greatest way of ensuring that this da'wah continues. So your support means a lot in terms of your du'as and also the donations, inshallah, that you make to this particular cause and to this particular program, inshallah. It would be a great source of elevation for yourselves, for your family. It is sadaqat al-jariyah, and inshallah you can surely reap the rewards from this as well. So thank you so much for your kind words, for your du'as, for your prayers. May Allah accept them from you. May He accept these humble efforts from us as well. And may it be a source of elevation in this world and in the hereafter. We have another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
You're welcome to the program. Can you tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Can you hear me?
This is Today, calling from Kwara State.
Your name is?
This is Today, calling from Kwara State.
Sudais, calling from Kwara State. Allahu Akbar, ya Sudais.
Yes.
How old are you, Sudais?
I'm 9 years.
You're 9 years old. MashaAllah. May Allah bless you, Sudais.
Ami.
Barakallahu fi. Go ahead with your question. Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. I can hear you, Sudais. Do you have a question for us? Do you have a question, Sudais? Hello?
Is there any specific surah to pray Rakatan?
Is there any specific?
Yes.
Any specific? Any specific surah to pray Rak'atay al-Fajr? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Rak'atay al-Fajr, those are the two nafila prayers at the Fajr time. Is that what you mean? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Do you mean the specific surahs at the Rak'atay al-Fajr,
Yes.
which is before Fajr prayer, the nafila before Fajr prayer? Okay, very good. So inshallah I'll answer this. Are there two surahs outside of Surah Al-Fatiha? You know, Surah Al-Fatiha, it is a must you even recite it because the salah is not valid without the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. So are there other surahs, two surahs that are preferred to be recited during the Rak'atay al-Fajr? Yes. These are Surah Al-Kafirun and Surah Al-Ikhlas. That is Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun and Surah Al-Ikhlas Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad. These are the two surahs that are preferred to be recited in the first rak'ah. Surah Al-Kafirun is recited after Fatiha, and in the second rak'ah, Surah Al-Ikhlas is recited after Fatiha. However, if one chooses to recite other surahs outside these two surahs, that is also fine as well. But reciting these two surahs would be from the Nabi, the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is fine for one to recite them as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We have another caller, I guess. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Wa alaikum salam.
MashaAllah, you're welcome to the program. Can you tell me your name and where you're calling from?
Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah.